Ready? Mr. McGhee, you have donated time. You have 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh boy, I have to speak fast. I can't get 6 minutes, sir?
I'll give you 7 minutes because Mr. King just donated.
Oh, good. I need 6 minutes. I timed this.
All right, 6 minutes it is.
Man, traffic in this town is... Whew. Boy. This vote is a foregone conclusion, so this is mainly for the record. So I would like to begin my remarks with a question. How many people in Austin, including residents of Rosewood Courts, would like to live in a brand new apartment over at the Lions Municipal Golf Course? That golf course sits on public land owned by the University of Texas. Affordable and non-sprawl housing constructed there would also affirmatively further our fair housing goals by desegregating an area of our city that was originally set aside for exclusive use by white people. But chances are we're never going to find out, because you all decided that that golf course was too historic. You all decided that its black history was so important that disturbing one blade of grass would diminish its historic integrity. Meanwhile, at Rosewood Courts, the most important black history site in Austin, you are about to sanction the privatization and marketization of truly affordable rent-controlled housing that has participated in our nation's public housing program for nearly 80 years. Under some theory that because the doors and windows have been changed due to bad maintenance by the housing authority, that the buildings have somehow magically lost their ability to convey their historical significance. Have you been following this debate? Have you been following some of the self-important preening and self-congratulation that has accompanied it? Ladies and gentlemen, I smell something in the air. And it's not just this allergy stuff that we have going on right now, which is really bad. It's hypocrisy. 12 years ago, I met with former HACA director Jim Hargrove to discuss my plans to nominate our city's historic public housing to the National Register of Historic Places. Since that time, I've strived to avoid making this discussion personal. I've kept my focus on the law, what our nation's body of historic preservation and environmental laws, most of which were enacted by that great champion of public housing, Lyndon Baines Johnson, require. Instead of thanking a private citizen who has devoted thousands of pro bono hours on behalf of a thankless cause that should have been addressed years ago, the Austin Housing Authority and others have instead chosen to engage in a campaign of taxpayer-funded personal vilification. I have been labeled obstructionist and unreasonable. My scholarship has been impugned, and I've been sent threatening letters by HACA's lawyers, warning me to stay away from residence under pain of arrest. I've been formally invited to one meeting by the Housing Authority. After that meeting, in the elevator, a high-ranking HACA official, whose name I will not mention, actually threatened me with physical violence. You want to know how I responded? I said, "You're too small to mess with me." Although I didn't use the word mess. It begins with an F and ends in a K. I guess that makes me unreasonable. So the bullying, you know what else I smell? Some projection. So let me make something clear. I grew up poor. As a child, I had to steal food to survive. Both of my parents have been to jail. One of them charged with murder, facing life in prison. Everything that I have accomplished, and I have accomplished much, is because of public, not private institutions that assisted me along the way. Accusing someone like me of being a gentrifying pretender who could not possibly understand the insufferable conditions public housing residents have to face is an act of ignorance and calumny that reveals at the heart of Austin's nonprofit industrial complex and inside some of our most vital public institutions. It is not unreasonable to insist that public housing residents, already poor and vulnerable, be treated with respect, not manipulation, that all options are presented to them, and that the benevolent paternalism of Austin's version of the white man's burden not be carried forward. It is not unreasonable to insist that laws and procedures be applied fairly and consistently for white history as well as black history. It is not unreasonable to insist that the deceptive claims of the Housing Authority be fact-checked, and that the ample available evidence that has emerged from public housing redevelopment in other cities be placed into evidence and utilized for public policy decision-making in Austin. Finally, it is not unreasonable to envision a properly revitalized Rosewood Courts, one built to the international passive house standard that combines the best of the history embodied by our nation's public housing program with the universally acknowledged mandate to decarbonize our built environment, not just our transportation sector. Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, there will be applause after your vote. I, however, will not be among those applauding. I will mourn as I watch the city that we all love, that is the creation of Franklin Roosevelt and Lyndon Johnson liberalism, continue its descent further down the bottomless pit that is neoliberalism. There is no alternative. Ladies and gentlemen, there is always an alternative, and you haven't even allowed it to come to public consciousness, much less allowed it to be discussed on its merits. Finally, I would like to say this. This isn't the end, it's just the end of the beginning. The truth is on my side. At some point, it will assert itself, as will the righteousness of this cause, which I will continue to pursue, alone, if necessary. And I'm not going anywhere. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Is there a